to the Sports on Tap Seattle podcast. And today we got a special guest that we're excited to have. And so I don't butcher the name. I want to make sure I keep doing it right. I asked before the podcast too. I'm gonna have you introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about yourself.
Yep. So my name is Ulumoo MJ Ali, known by many as MJ. I'm from Fife, Washington. Currently playing for the University of Washington, the defensive lineman. So, yeah, that's a little background
Yeah.
about myself.
Newly a defensive lineman
Yeah.
too, correct?
Yeah, really new.
Yeah, and a lot of interesting background, which we'll get to here later on in the podcast, because I know you're not originally from Fife as well.
No. So, yeah, moved here from Australia.
Very cool, very cool. Well, we'll start it off with the first question that we ask everyone. And once again, thanks for coming on, man. We really appreciate it. And that first question is, what is that first moment that made you like fall in love with sports? That, every kid has it where it's just like, man, I love sports, and every boy and a lot of girls as well just fall in love. What was your moment?
For me, it was playing rugby. I'd say playing rugby. So I grew up. I'm a pastor's son. I don't know if a lot of people know that. I'm a pastor's son,
Oh man.
and I've always been a little bigger than most. And growing up, just being as big as I am and bigger than people my age, you always hear that. Be nice, be gentle. And as I started playing these sports, I realized I could really hit somebody, and there's no consequences. There are no consequences when I hit people. So I just kind of fell in love with it. I look back at my history, and a lot of the sports I did, they were just physical. They were violent sports. So I just fell in love with that aspect of the game.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's awesome. And I mean, that's a great segue to, I guess, the question I was going to ask you. You said you liked hitting people, and you were a three-time Golden Glove heavyweight champion in Australia. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And we read online. We did some research. It said like almost one of the articles we read said almost by accident. And I wondered. I was gonna ask you, what does that mean? Like, how did that all happen?
So growing up in Australia, you grow up, it's kind of natural to pick up a rugby ball and just start playing rugby. Fortunate enough for me, I lived not too far from a boxing gym. It was actually my brothers who were really into boxing, so I just happened to be around the gym, and then you just end up playing around as a kid, lacing up the glove, and next thing I noticed, I was getting into some of the local tournaments and just making my rounds.
Oh wow! So yeah, it went from just I was trying to have fun, put on some boxing gloves to okay, maybe I'm kind of good at this.
Yeah, basically the story.
Yeah.
Did
And
you?
go ahead,
Go ahead.
Sam.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, would you get back into boxing ever? Like, is that something you're passionate about? I mean, you're 6'6", 300 something pounds. I mean, you'd be I would say a killer heavyweight.
Yeah. So I started off, and then I kind of really focused in on rugby. And I think once I got into those team sports, there was just no going back for me. I just loved having guys around me, loved being in that team atmosphere. And there was no going back after that.
Yeah, it's definitely different than just the man by himself in a boxing ring, and compared to playing like a team sport where you kind of make all those friendships and bonds. And there's probably so,
Yeah.
especially on a football team, you guys have so many guys. It's so much easier to actually make a lot of friendships and cool connections. And
Yeah.
what is that? And so is rugby what got you into football then too? Basically, when you move, it's like, was it the most similar thing in America, or what was that story too? So you're in Australia, you're boxing in rugby, but then now you're in Washington playing football. What was that transition, and why'd that happen?
So like I said, my dad's a pastor. He got a church out here in Tacoma, Washington. So family made the move. I actually went out for track. So I came here. I went to Columbia Junior High here in Fife, and I decided to go out for track just to kind of make some friends and kind of settle in a little bit more. And the throwing coach for track just happened to be the head football coach.
Yep.
Yep.
And he just kind of convinced me to give it a chance, and I hopped on, and it changed my life.
Yeah, I mean they like when you see there's not many people built like you naturally, probably, right? When you're out of school or different things, it's probably
Yeah.
And that attracts a football coach. Like, okay, yeah, this could be something special here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And were you doing what were you doing in track? You were doing what's it called? Sounds like what was the throwing
Was it shot
Shot
put?
put. Yeah. Shot put and discus. Yep.
Yeah, so you got to see all the strength and all everything behind it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and was football just like natural then? Probably, right? You probably came right into it, and being the biggest guy, you probably were just like, "Oh, this is easy" at first.
Yeah. I mean, I had the physical aspect down. I didn't realize how technical the game was.
Oh my god, yeah.
Which kind of took me back to boxing, and I just started honing in on it. The coach started spending extra time with me. I was getting in with the guys. I even had to learn how to get in the stance. I didn't even know how to get in the stance. Just putting on the pads. I had to learn how to, 5 clicks in, lock it in.
Yeah. No, that is different actually. That's and it's not like I played football for the first time when I was I think third grade. I was really young when I started playing we were from like Bellevue, Kirkland area. I was playing for the Bellevue Bears back then. And it was like third grade or something. And like, okay, so by high school, I know how to click on the pads and do everything, but I could see almost like as a high schooler going into it, like it's a weird experience for the first time trying to get in in the right stance and clicking on your pads and putting in your knee pads and thigh pads. And like, it's one of those sports that like the equipment is actually like one hell of an experience, like trying to get on. It's different.
Yeah. I mean, I get in contact with guys from back in Australia. They ask me how it is. I was like, man, just making out the locker room. I got to make sure I don't forget anything. There's so much equipment. Got to make sure the knee pads are on. Got to have the mouthpiece, the helmet. Got to get it all in order before I walk out.
Exactly. Have you ever forgot anything? Like, has you or a teammate, I guess, any crazy stories where someone forgot a piece of equipment and get out on the field and like, oh shoot?
No, I haven't yet. I think the one story that just kind of got around was when I first started playing football. I actually asked if I could play without a helmet. Yeah.
You're like, I don't need this. I'm good.
Yeah, no, because rugby back in Australia, it was optional if you wanted to wear the mouthpiece. There was a little waiver you could sign. So I thought, maybe I could just get a little waiver and forget the helmet. I don't need the helmet.
Like, I don't like this. It's too heavy.
Yeah.
No.
Well, you remember the first time ever wearing a helmet? I mean, I remember I played in 6th grade, I think, for the first year. And man, that first year wearing a helmet, that your head hurts so bad the first couple of weeks.
Oh yeah. I don't think guys understand. There's definitely a period just breaking that thing in that you definitely feel it. You can definitely feel every single padding, just slightly tight and you'll feel it. So
yeah, it's not comfortable. I'm sure though nowadays, right? Like when you get to a Division I level, you got some even better fitted helmets and different things, right? Do you see a big difference in like equipment and different things, or is it still like have a break-in period and it still feels like a lot of equipment?
I think it's definitely a break-in period. I think in college, just because almost every week I get a new pair of cleats. They take care of us at this level, so I got like a new pair of cleats I got to break in almost every week. And then we have certain colors this week that I might need I need white shoe this week. I obviously got to break those in. So I think it just happens more often in high school. More just breaking in preseason, and I'm good for the whole season.
Yeah, that's one pair the whole year, unless something happens.
Exactly. Dang. So I guess speaking of new things, so now I think you're going to be on your 3rd head coach in 3 years, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that transition? I mean, you probably came into UW thinking, Coach Pete is going to be there the whole time, and then you got Coach Jimmy Lake, and now you got Kalen I can't pronounce his last name yet, even. Coach DeBoer, right? DeBoer.
Yep, DeBoer.
Yeah, and how is that adjustment period, right? I mean, I'm sure they all have their highs and lows and things you like and pros and cons, but is it hard to adjust, year to year to year, being 3 years straight?
Yeah, I mean, I think for most coaches, they all have their way of running their system, but I think at the end of the day, they're all kind of preaching the same thing, just establishing a culture, buying in. And I think the best experience I had was with Pete, but then I didn't see much of a difference other than approach. When we moved on to Coach Lake, now on to Coach DeBoer, all these guys, they preach the same thing, and it's just they just deliver the message differently, and I think that's what takes some getting used to for guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And go ahead, Sam.
Well, it does it. I mean, at some point, is it when you're going to college, right? You chose University of Washington. Do you expect? I know because things change so much in sports now. Do you expect to have the same guy for like 4 or 5 years? Like, were you going in saying like, Coach Pete's my guy? This is what I'm expecting for 4 years. Like, or do you kind of know in the back of your head that, man, like in college sports, professional sports, because it's basically the same thing these days. It's like so many changes happen, and I gotta expect anything to happen. Like, what is your mindset going into it? Because you do pick the school kind of based on the coach too, right? Like that
Yeah,
guy, the way I like the way that this guy recruited me and treats me and talks to me and like as a mentor, etc.
yeah, yeah. I would think coming out of high school, that was definitely what I had thought. I don't think anybody really saw Coach Pete stepping down, but
No.
but yeah, no, life hit you with those curveballs, and you got to adapt. So, Coach Pete stepped down, took a little break. He's still around, but moved on to Coach Lake, and credit to these coaches that followed because I really didn't feel like we missed a step. Really, I mean, they were probably a couple tweaks we could have made here and there, but other than that, I mean, the team was comfortable. I know most of the guys were comfortable, and just going into that kind of change. I mean, you would like a bit of stability. I think being in college football for as long as I have, you realize that it's rare. Like changes happen, and and it's really not even up to the players. So, but you just got to believe that at the end of the day, they're gonna look out for your best interest. And I think I've been fortunate in that I've had some great coaches. Coach Pete, Coach Lake, to now with Coach DeBoer. I've been lucky in that sense.
Totally. And I guess with Coach DeBoer, I mean, they've came up to you right away and they've asked for a position change, right? I mean, you're going from offensive line to defensive line. How's that adjustment going so far? Have you had to do anything like diet wise, or is it just training wise, or like what's that process been like?
And I'll add to that. Like, was it like break us down like how that goes? Like, was that a suggestion by them, or was that something you guys both talked about? Like, how's the whole thing work in total? Because that's not like you don't see that every day.
Yeah. So I sat down with Coach Huff first. That was my position coach for O line, and he kind of gave me the idea. He said, "Well, we're looking at trying this out," and they just kind of reiterated how it could definitely help the team, and I think from the very beginning, I was all for it. I didn't really, a lot of these guys have they're playing their position they've been playing for a long time. And
Right.
for me, it's like, I'm still fairly new at the game. As long as I get to hit somebody, I don't care which side of the ball
Yeah.
it's at.
You're like, it might
But
work. Why not? All right.
yeah, I mean, I've only been playing for a couple of years. I've been able to learn the whole game of football in just a matter of time. Like I'm sure I could adjust and hopefully deliver on what the team needs. And yeah, it's been exciting so far. I got one of the best coaches in the game now with Coach Noakes, and he's just been getting me ready, getting me dialed in, and I feel good where I'm at.
Yeah, man, and we've had some success. I went to University of Washington as well. We've had some success with, big defensive linemen. So maybe you're going to be that next one in line. You never know. Like you said, you've only been playing the game for a few years, so you don't know what kind of success, position change could bring. And I could kind of garner in a weird way. Like boxing might kind of help with that, right? Like the quick reactions, the hand work, like the techniques maybe from boxing to get off the offensive lineman.
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely think a lot of my past experience to translate, in any sport, really, in life in general. I feel like a lot of things translate, and seeing a lot of transferable skills. So, I just feel good where I'm at.
I
That's
love it.
exciting, man. Yeah, and it'll be cool to try something new. I mean, like I think that's pretty awesome that you're just going from O line to D line in the middle of a college career, and you never know. Like it could be the best decision you ever made, right? And like things go amazing, and it's a great experience. And that, I feel like UW is known for their defense, and I feel like you're going to be part of that, like, I don't know, part of that brand. Like when I think UW, I just think like the defense. I think of the defensive line and the DBs and like, all the
purple people eaters.
Yeah, like there's so many great defensive talents from UW. There's good offensive talents too, but like I feel like there's something special about being on UW's defense. Did you feel that with the unit or like the coaching staff? Like, is there a super big pride in the defense at UW?
Oh yeah. For as long as I've been here, there's always been a sense of pride playing defense. I mean,
Yeah.
those guys pride themselves in being one of the best in the conference, best in the nation, really. And it's always been kind of cool. You hear the little death row defense, and
Yeah,
I'm just over here like, yeah, we're offense. But no, it's definitely nice now. I get to, and just talking to guys I probably wouldn't normally talk to. Just being so tight knit on offense, and now I'm getting to know more about my teammates and talking to guys that otherwise would have never really gotten to know on this level and this intimate. So yeah, it's been great.
That's actually kind of, I never thought of it that way. Like you're kind of moving from like, you have your group of friends here. It's like a little fraternity of, offensive linemen, and you got to say goodbye to them and move over to the defensive linemen. It's like you're moving neighborhoods.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a big switch up, but no, I'm enjoying. I still get a lot of love from my guys on offense. Up until the pads are on, but other than that,
it's like then you got to see them.
Yeah.
Until it hits the practice field.
Exactly. Well, I got a question to you about some football here. So I know that you guys, travel around the country. You went to Michigan last year. What's the toughest road environment you've played in, you think, so far since you've been at Washington?
Toughest road environment. Yeah, I mean, I haven't traveled. There are certain games I've heard of that I have yet to travel to. Like I'm looking forward to finally getting up to Eugene. I hear that can be a tough one for the Dogs.
Yeah, I hope we kick their ass.
Yeah, and then you got I mean, I still have not been to Pullman.
All right.
So yeah, there's a couple, but so far for me, one that stands out would be the Rose Bowl, 2018.
Oh, okay.
We got down to the Rose Bowl, and just the history behind that game and that stadium. I mean, the noise level is definitely different. You can feel it. You can almost feel it underneath your feet on the ground. So yeah, definitely that's probably my number one.
Yeah, and I mean, not too many people. I think that was Urban Meyer's last game at Ohio State too. That was kind of unexpected as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I could see if the Rose Bowl too. It's one of those places that just has the history and it's just different. And you hear just amazing like stories about people playing there too. So I could see that one. Do you have any specific ones at UW that you remember too? Like that, like there was a certain game that it felt different at UW.
I can't think off the top of my head, but yeah, no, a lot of the games in UW are memorable ones. Whenever we're at home, the crowd never disappoints. These guys are. I think we're actually ranked as one of the loudest. So, that the environment is crazy. I think one that I'll remember is the Cal game, the one that got postponed because of the the lightning. Yeah,
and
but I remember running out.
We started like 1 a.m. Like got back.
But I remember running out that day and just hearing the fan that definitely hyped us up, and then just having like I think it was almost 3-hour delay coming out, and the noise was still there. Like these fans are so loyal. These guys keep it loud for us, and they definitely play a big role when it comes to game day.
Yeah, no, I remember that game. I mean, I've never seen a college football game be delayed 3 hours and actually start. And it was the only game going. I think we were on the West Coast, but if you're on the East Coast, that game's going back on at 2 a.m. It's like you got all the way up till 5. So I got another question for you, man, is so you've seen college football kind of change here now, right? I mean, you started off, there was no NILs. Now there's NILs. How have have you seen the recruiting process change, student life change, like as a student athlete? How has it affected you so far, and how's it affected the team, you think? Either positively or negatively?
Oh, I think we got a little freeze.
Oh, we got frozen.
There we go. It's
Oh, there
back
you go.
on. You're good. Did you hear the question or no?
Yeah, the NIL.
Yep.
Yeah, like has it changed things? Like has it changed the way, recruits have come in? Has it changed things for like the environment, the locker room, different things like that?
Quality of life.
I wouldn't say so. I mean, I think the locker room stayed kind of the same. I mean, guys obviously still very close. I mean, coming off COVID, we finally getting to be more in contact with each other. Guys are definitely more tight knit. As far as NIL goes, I think we're still in the phase of navigating it, but I think it's a step in the right direction. You never know these things until you try it, and I think we're in that phase right now where everything just kind of we're going through trials, trying things out. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some changes or some regulations be enforced. But other than that, I think we're, especially here at UW, I think we're doing a great job of just, giving guys the opportunity to maybe get out, interact with the community a little more, while, just making a little money while they're at it. So.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. Never hurts.
Yeah, it never hurts. No, it doesn't.
I think as long as it stays regulated enough where you don't have like ridiculous stuff, like like especially places maybe like the SEC, it can get kind of ridiculous where a quarterback's getting paid like $1 million for some deal that they're trying, like it almost becomes not even NIL. They're just paying them like it's like some local booster giving them this money for something. I think that's where they got to be careful so it doesn't become too much of a like divide between, college sports and, like half some of the players are like professionals and some are like college athletes and it gets confusing, So I think as long as there's some regulation, I think it's always going to be good for the sport because if your name is big enough to make money, then it shouldn't hurt to make some money.
Yeah, definitely. I think so.
Yeah, the SEC is the only question though.
And definitely just, pushes players to kind of utilize their platform they have now. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, especially, being a University of Washington athlete, you guys are one of the most influential people in the whole state of Washington, right? You got, Seattle Mariners, Seattle Seahawks. I'd say Washington Huskies are the third biggest brand in sports in Washington. So,
it might be even bigger than the Mariners at some
point. It might be bigger than the Mariners. Yeah, it might be bigger than the Mariners. That's a good point.
Yeah, more fans. We love the Mariners.
No disrespect to the Mariners or Husky, but yeah. So it's good that you guys are able to utilize your Instagram followers, your Twitter followers, and and make a living for a lot of people. You're blessed that your father's a pastor. You're able to have that support, but a lot of people don't have the support that you might have had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just so cool, how important UW football is to this community. Did that play a role in you deciding UW, or like what was your recruiting process like too? I wanted to ask, were you UW or nothing else, or was it, did you actually consider some other schools and whatnot?
Yeah, no, I think I've always had a little soft spot for UW. And at the time they were doing very well, under Coach Pete. So there was really no reason for me to. I think just the whole recruitment, I was looking for a reason to leave Washington, which I didn't really get at the time. Washington just seemed so stable, and Coach Pete was doing a great job here. You guys were developing. The draft was. It wasn't if the Huskies were going to get somebody drafted, but how many were they going to get drafted? Like that.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those. They were having so much success here, and my whole recruitment process, I got to get around, got down to Corvallis, got over to the Bruins at LA, and it was really just looking for a reason to leave. And obviously, I never found it. I stayed home, and so but I'm really happy I stayed. I'm very grateful for all the offers I did have and all the people that took interest. But you know, it was just right for me to stay home.
Yeah,
I
and
like that.
we're glad, and we're glad you did too, man, as Husky Nation.
Yeah,
So
it was one of those though, basically, right? Like, unless somebody convinces me why I shouldn't go to UW, like I'm not like I'll just
Yeah,
go to UW. Yeah,
yeah.
and
I mean,
you were what? When did recruiting start for you? Like around 2016, probably, right? 2016, 20 when they made the playoffs. Like around that would be in your sophomore year, I
yeah,
believe.
yeah. That's when it started off for me. It took a while to kind of grasp what was going on. You know, I walked there and coach let me know. You know, Utah State put forth an offer, and I was like, okay, well, what does that mean?
You're like, okay, now what?
Yeah, and then once I realized, you know, I could get a really good quality education, and I think that definitely factored in. Also, you know, UW being, you know, the academic school that it is, as well as getting good quality football, it's a win-win.
yeah, no,
That is.
that's awesome, man. And then, so you were born in Samoa, right?
Yeah.
All right. So here's another question. Just being from Samoa, what is the connection between the Samoan community and it seems like Washington State and the West Coast in general? Like it seems like you don't see many SEC Samoans or Samoans in Big 12, but a lot in the Pac-10 or now Pac-12 in general. What's the connection there?
And on UW's defense,
And
it's
you
been
have
a
defense.
Yeah.
very common thing.
Yeah. I think it's just one of those situations is guys tend to go where they see themselves, you know, and Washington State, they had that pipeline with Coach Joe Salave over there. And you know, I think they just had, you know, he got some guys' ears, and just seeing somebody like that, somebody like us, who's
Yeah.
telling us, you know, he understands the way we grew up, where we're trying to get, and why it's important for us to get what we're trying to get. And you know, when you talk to somebody like that who understands, you know, your upbringing, it just kind of puts everything in perspective. Like, yo, you know what? Somebody like me succeeded here. So, you know, and you see it with USC as well. You know, like just the
Yep.
Yeah.
amount of guys they take after Troy Polamalu done put a clinic
Yeah.
on during his time at
Yeah.
USC.
Oh yeah.
You know, and then you know we had the same thing going on here with Coach Malloy. Malloy did a great job. You know, just you know we see ourselves, and I think that's what kind of pushes kids to gravitate towards these schools. And yeah, you know, a lot of people capitalizing off that.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah.
makes perfect sense. And you said you have brothers, right? Are they older, or younger?
I have one younger brother, and then I
Oh,
got three older brothers.
oh, wow.
Any sports for them? You said they were into boxing, but like anybody go like high level stuff or
No, so far I kind of beat them all at that.
I like
No,
that.
but a lot of my brothers, you know, they kind of went on to other endeavors. You know, I have one brother in the military, and yeah, everyone just kind of doing their own thing.
Did the whole family move to Tacoma, or was that just you with your dad, or did you like have is your whole family in the States now, or is it
Yeah,
all over?
yeah,
Okay.
no, all of us, yeah, we all came over.
Nice. That's exciting though. So yeah, it became home now.
Yeah, it definitely, yeah, it became home
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah,
Wow.
and where's your father a pastor? Which church in Tacoma?
The Christian Congregation Church of American Samoa.
Oh wow,
Oh
cool. So
wow.
it's a big so you have a big Samoan community over there.
Oh yeah, we got a lot of guys out here. I think we have a couple churches as well.
Oh wow.
So yeah, no, it's been great.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
really
that.
interesting. Yeah, because we grew up in Washington and Seattle, and we had it's kind of similar, but we had we're Syrians, and we had like a Syrian, Lebanese, Jordanian, Palestinian church for all the Christians from the Middle East. So in Seattle as well. So it's kind of interesting how it seems like all the same ethnic groups we all get together and even religiously and try to build that community together.
Yeah,
Is that what your dad's goal was to do? Is to come here and have a church to bring all of you guys together?
yeah, yeah. So my brothers were out here. They got married and they were out here for a while. We moved over. We were in Australia for about 12 years, and I think it was just one of those decisions. It was what best for him was best for our church in Australia. Just it's always good to have some sort of change, you know.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you hear the same pastor over and over again, it's kind of just like, saying the same. He's saying the same thing, you know. I was surprised he held it up for 12 years. I mean, God didn't run out of things to say.
And that's what they say sometimes about football coaches too.
Oh man. Yeah, that's awesome though, man. Like I love that. It seems like the Seattle community for you and like the Tacoma Seattle community is a big community now for you and your family, and it's awesome to have you at UW. And I'm just excited to see what's to come. I know that the last year and the year before were a little bit of down years compared to what we're used to in success. And I do have a question from somebody on Instagram here from Matt, which was considering that there was the like step back the past few years, is there something in the new coaching staff like specifically that you feel like that's bringing kind of optimism or like a fresh start? Or like, I know it's hard to transition from Coach Pete to Jimmy Lake to now DeBoer. Like, is there something that do you feel like a new like vibe in the locker room? Is there something to be optimistic about that's like specific with this new coaching staff?
I mean, I think if anything, guys have just grown to be more confident in themselves. I mean, we have a great coaching staff. They had a great game plan. But I think the biggest difference is the players seeing what we can do. We've gone through 3 different playbooks now and just seeing like, wow, we could really execute these different types of game plans. That's the kind of players we have, like, I mean, we gotta pick up a couple pieces here and there, Obviously we picked up some great guys through transfer portals and guys that are looking to come in and contribute. But, just seeing what we can do, like, we have such a diverse, talented group of guys here. And, I think just showing like all these game plans we've been through that we played, like, I think it just shows how versatile and talented this group really is. And I think once we get a good game plan together, I mean, we have the most confidence in DeBoer and his coaching staff. And, I think we're looking forward to a really good year.
I like to hear that. And there wasn't like a huge turnover in everybody, right? There's a lot of coaches that are still. Didn't he kept some of the staff, correct?
Yeah, we kept Coach Huff.
Yeah. Okay. So it wasn't a completely different like. It's not like everything. It's not like a full tear down inside the building.
Yeah. No, I think, I mean, at least from my perspective, these past couple of years, it's more just slight changes, but a lot of the core of the system stay the same. So yeah, it's exciting.
I like to hear that.
Yeah, we're excited for the season, man. I have a feeling we're gonna have a really good one.
Yeah,
it's exciting. I got one more question for you, just like on a personal level, because we could chat football all day, but I like to get to know people a little bit too. Is what are some of your like next goals and steps in life, whether it's in football, outside of football? Like what are some things that you dream to get done here in the next 5, 10, 15 years of life? Like what, let's say even outside of football, any big dreams, big goals, places to live? Are you going to be in Seattle? Like what are some of the hopes and dreams here?
Yeah, I mean, so far I've grown very comfortable in Seattle. This is home for me. In about 2 weeks, I will be graduating. So
congratulations.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
What are you graduating in?
Political science.
Fantastic.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm graduating political science. I just like helping people. I think that's been kind of what made me interested in politics, and I've also been doing research with the anthropology department. So, I've been dipping my toes here and there, just getting some experience. But yeah, for me, I've always aspired to do good in school. I've always known the importance of school. My parents being immigrants, I've always known that being in the position I'm in now, that I've had these opportunities most kids like me back at home don't get.
Yeah.
So just taking the time to kind of capitalize and just try and get as much, I might just get into graduate school and see if I can walk away with a master's while I'm here, So
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, nothing is set in stone yet, but I'm just grateful for where I'm at, and I'm excited for where I'm headed.
It's a good answer. I like
That's
it.
a great answer. Love it.
Dang, I like that answer. And do you have eligibility 1 more year or 2 more?
I got 2 more.
2 more. Okay, so you could go do a master's, let's say next year, and have another year of eligibility and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
That's awesome.
Is it?
Yeah.
Does the schedule get a little easier once you do get that like when you get that degree? Like, is it a little like right now? Are you gonna have a little bit of an easier season, like some less things to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is like the accountability end of it all. Like once you get your degree, the coaches really don't have a reason to kind of be on you about,
Yeah.
are you doing your homework, or and luckily we've had coaches who I've heard about some schools that have coaches who really don't care about the school end of it all. It's just completely football. But we've been blessed with, from Coach Pete to Lake to now DeBoer, players are held accountable on and off the field. So,
That's good.
I think once you get that degree, coaches kind of get off your back a little bit, kind of
Yeah.
trust you a little more. You've proven that you'll get the work done. And yeah, that's for me. That's probably the best part about it.
Yeah. Like nobody over my shoulder anymore. I just
Yeah.
maybe on the football field probably coaching, but off the field they can leave you alone.
Yeah, I mean, and there's definitely times where you need it too. So, I'm
Yeah.
not complaining, but we made it.
Yeah.
It's a huge accomplishment, man. And I mean, you should be proud of yourself. And hopefully, if you go do that master's vote, they don't get on top of your ass during that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, we really appreciate you having you on, man. Like we're rooting for you and we're really excited for this football season. I hope hopefully we can do this again one day, and maybe next time we talk, we'll be talking to, maybe this team going to some Pac-12 championship, or, like a college football playoff. That's where I want to see you guys at again.
Yeah, no, yeah, we'll get there. Definitely get there.
That's what I like to hear. Any more questions from you, George?
No, that's it, man. We really, really appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys having me.
I appreciate it, man. Take care and good luck.
All right, thank you. Have a good one, guys.
You too.